Citizens wishing to address the board during public comment must notify the board secretary prior to the board meeting. The board president will recognize these individuals and make their comments, to make their comments at the appropriate time during public comment, and that is the public comment time that we have on the agenda tonight. The board, however, will only receive petitions and not act upon them and not act upon them tonight. The board has the direction to limit the amount of time set for public participation. Normally, speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. However, the board president may modify the time limit if deemed appropriate or necessary. Public comment is a time set aside for community input, but the board will not discuss or take any actions on any matter during public comment. A public comment shall be limited to regular board meetings and will not be routinely held during special board meetings. The board had significant interest in maintaining the decorum of the meetings, and it is expected that members of the public and the board will address each other with civility. The orderly process of the board meeting will not interfere with or disrupt any public comment. Only individuals recognized by the board president will be allowed to speak. Comments by others out of order is disruptive. If disruptive, the individual causing the disruption may be asked to leave the board meeting. Defamatory comments may be subject to legal action. So there's also a copy of that back there. I think everybody's seen it. So I'll just go in the order these were handed to me. Lindsay, if you'd like to speak.
Practice anywhere special?
No, anywhere you'd like to. Oh, yeah, if you state your name and where you're from.
Okay, my name's Lindsay Colby and I'm from Atkins. So I wrote it down because otherwise I'm gonna misspeak, I know. Okay.
And her phone died, so she's
Yeah.
using mine.
Good evening, my name is Lindsay Colby. There are a few things I'd like to address, but first a backstory, because a backstory does mean something to some people. I have 3 kids, Emily, who is 19 and graduated from Benton, Alec is 17, a senior and will graduate in the spring, and Cooper is 9th and in 4th grade at Norway. I bought a house in Atkins in 2008 just for the schools. Until this year, I believed that the best interest of my children was at the forefront of every person in here's agenda. Now I'm not so sure. The summer before Emily's freshman year, she wanted to commit suicide. Instead, she went to marching band camp and met a second family. Brad Williamson in the Benton Community Marching podcast literally saved my daughter's life. So to say that I'm upset that this is happening now is beyond. My son Alec was picked on in elementary school. I saw the child and his mother at a soccer game. I told her what had been happening. She understood and how to talk with her son. And that's what happens when parents work together. Cooper's 9 and in 4th grade. He's been kicked, slapped, punched, you name it. We've reported it to the principals. It took us getting mad and causing an uproar for a safety plan to be put in place. It took my child and others getting hit, kicked, choked, or pushed for them to move this bully to another bus. When I told them it's unsafe for him to be on a bus with any kids, they said they couldn't kick him off. I'm sorry, but there are more kids than just mine that are scared of this child. If in order to get this child to behave, they have to have someone walking with them in the halls and standing outside of the bathroom, maybe that's a liability. Maybe instead of making a whole school uncomfortable, there should be something else that can be done. They said they can't kick a kid out, but they're very quick to send me a letter telling me that if I'm disrespectful or use foul language or derogatory comments, I'll be asked to leave. Yet they allow my 9-year-old to go through that daily. I'm happy that this child is no longer on my son's bus, but I will not stop with him being safe just on the bus. There is video proof of this child physically hurting kids, yet he's still at school. My son told me he hated me because I gave birth to him, and all he does is get picked on, so he'd rather be dead. In order for things to get better, we need our officials to do better. I wrote an email to Mr. Eastman, poured my heart out. When questioned why he didn't respond, it was just concerns and it didn't warrant a response. Telling you my son wants to kill himself doesn't deserve a response. How unfair. I took my son to school yesterday for the first time in 10 days. I told Mr. Eastman that I was putting my child's life in his hands. I felt sick. but he has to go to school. We had a meeting with several officials here in this room 13 days ago. And when asked what it would take for them to take this serious, would this bully have to come to school and kill someone? You want to know how they reacted? A smirk and a chuckle. When questioned about this less than acceptable response, he said he was merely reacting to our extreme example. Extreme example. Ask the students and parents of Oxford High School if a child killing another child is an extreme example. Ask the parents and students of Robb Elementary if a school shooting is an extreme example. Ask the parents of Stoneman Douglas High School if they believe a child killing another child is an extreme example. And lastly, ask the parents of the child that was just stabbed at Benton High School last week if bullying and arguments don't escalate to more. I cannot believe the lack of concern that is being shown. Just because you move someone from one area to another doesn't make it better. Taking my child out of harm's way, but putting other childs in the path is not right. As I stand and look at you, I see the officers in the halls of Robb Elementary School, standing by silent as children were slaughtered. I'm telling you that this child is dangerous, and there are kids scared of him. You can walk into any building and mention these people's last name, and numerous teachers, students will tell you that they're trouble. Several parents have come to me during the course of this saying that their child has been bullied and nothing was done about it. I never shared names with anybody. Several names came up several times when asking who the bully was. We as parents demand better from the people that are paid to teach and protect our children. We as parents are tired of the curriculum getting the utmost attention, then losing interest in keeping kids safe in class, in the lunchroom, and on the bus to and from school.
Thank you. TJ Colby?
My name is TJ Colby. If you haven't figured out, I am Lindsay's husband. I don't know if anybody recognizes the name of Nicholas Cruz, if anybody knows who that is. That it was the shooter at Parkland. The FBI director said, while we never know if any such investigation activity would have prevented this tragedy, we clearly should have done more, because it was brought to their attention and local police enforcement, their attention of the possibilities of what this kid and his actions and everything was leading up to. There was a lot of concern. And again, nobody did anything, especially law enforcement. The letter that my wife is talking about right here, which is actually signed by Pam Ewell, where it talks about all of the rules and stuff that we're supposed to abide by. We're not allowed to voice our concerns because that may be derogatory, and if that's the case, we will be reprimanded. And I don't appreciate that at all, because in my eyes, that's just a way to shut us up from exposing a lot of the stuff that's going on in the schools. We have been nothing but lied to, particularly from Philip Eastman. There have been several instances of other kids as well on the buses being spit on that he lied about and was covered up. But the video evidence that was taken from the bus shows otherwise, and he still denies it, still cover up. And when confronted about this particular kid that we have been having issues with, not only with our son, but with a lot of other kids as well, he denies it, he covers it up, and protects the bully. At some point, when do we stop victimizing the criminal and criminalizing the victims? It's unacceptable. The new thing in today's age is, if you see something, say something. That was brought up during the first meeting with Philip Eastman, Taylor Brandt, and Pam Ewell. Why should our kids say anything? Her response, a little bit of a joke, trying to be funny. Oh, as the kids get older, they just think it's not cool. It's not the case. Because when stuff's being said, stuff's being reported, nobody takes it serious. The people that should be taking it serious, the people that should be taking it serious are not. There's also in the letter, again, I've got the proof, in the letter, says right here that, as you know, based on the concerns you expressed regarding my son's safety, we worked with you to develop a safety plan that would allow him to feel safe. It's an absolute lie. All we ever got told was this is what you're going to do, or this is what we're going to do, nothing else. Eric Harris and Dylan Claybold. Names ring a bell? Those are the Columbine shooters. In the 20 years since, an explanation for the Columbine shooters have been driven to the public imagination. Eric and Dylan were said to be outcasts who were bullied and finally pushed over the edge. Is that what we're expecting our kids to do at some point? At some point just snap and do that because they've been victimized and they've been bullied, and again, nobody did anything about it. Suicide rates, if you didn't know, between kids of 5 and 11. Last year, 134 children. 75% of that were boys. The reasons were mental health, suicide-related concerns due to trauma, family-related problems, and school or peer-related problems. Suicide rates, because of stuff like this, trauma being happened and being done at schools, unacceptable. The last thing I will leave you with, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He was a German Lutheran pastor, theologian, and anti-Nazi dissident. Back during World War II, he had a real issue and a real concern with the churches doing nothing and staying silent. He is known for a famous quote, "Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act." So, like my wife, I beg everybody here to actually please take this serious. Don't ignore it like what has been done. And try to make Benton community a place where people want to come, kids feel safe, instead of turning them into outcasts.
Thank you. Lana, would you like to speak?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Elena Robinson. I know some of you. I subbed in 2020 for the school district. I was happy to do so. Was looking forward to subbing in last year, and I had a stroke in August, and I died. But I stand before you, recovering. But last year, unfortunately, we had several incidences, and we did bring them forward, and I did message you about some incidences. My own son was assaulted in the school. I'm looking at Mr. Piffner. He's aware of that, and he did take care of that for us, and I appreciate that. But this individual that the Colbys are speaking about, I'm not going to name his name, but my son is looking forward to becoming a Bobcat. He is currently a Central Cougar. He will graduate this year, and he is looking forward to becoming a Bobcat. And this mama bear knows that that little boy that they're speaking about will also be in this building with him. And I'm not willing to put my son in danger. And we did move to Atkins for Central and ultimately Benton. That's why we moved here. I grew up in Benton. My husband grew up in Texas. We knew we didn't want our children to go to Benton-Shellsburg, so we moved over here for this community, for this district. And I'm shaking. I'm shaking because I'm scared for my son's life because of this 6th grader that I won't name, but he will be in this building next year with my 9th grader. And it's very concerning. And I want you just to look into it. I want you to take their cries seriously. My vested interest simply is in the safety of all of the children. I do hope one day to recover enough to come back and sub. I very much enjoyed it, but I'm not in any position right now. Still in recovery about 4 days a week. So, but I want to get better. I want to come back. I want to be involved. I love this community. I love this school. My son wants to be a Bobcat, and I'm talking to him about we might need to look at other schools, and he's fighting me. He wants to come here. He has friends here. He loves it here. It's me that's scared. I'm scared. I'm scared for him, and I really just want you guys to look into this and to any other allegations. If there are other children coming forward, speaking, saying, we've been hurt, we've been injured, we've been assaulted, we've been, whatever it is, don't blow them off maybe because of who they are, what their last name is. Look into it. Look into it. This should not be who has the best last name or the most money, or really, it's all the kids. They should all have a chance. And I've put a target on my own son's back because I'm loud, I'm political. Roy's laughing because he knows me. But deep down, like, I love my kids, and everything I do is for my kids. And it's for my kids' friends and their classmates. I volunteer all the time at our school. I'm there every day for everything, even through my therapy. Even last year in a wheelchair, I was there. And I will still be here. But I don't know if I can be here if you guys can't look into these things. Just look into them. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name's Jenny Becker. I live in Atkins. I have 3 children in the community. My daughter Madison's in 6th grade. I'm just here to come forward because my daughter herself has not had run-ins with this kid. She has witnessed them with her friends. She has had other incidents with another child, one of which was reported. But otherwise, I have not talked to Mr. Eastman about this or emailed him. But it is on a weekly basis. I am told stories about things that are happening at the school, physical and verbal altercations. And just last week, I decided that my daughter needs to learn self-defense because I don't know what the other options are at this point. She, will go to the teacher and say this happened and is told that there is nothing that can be done. Now, I'm not there, so I'm telling you what my daughter's saying. So I haven't spoke to the teacher to know if they said that or not, but I am concerned. I've watched my senior go through bullying in Benton community. It's been a struggle, and now I'm watching my daughter go through it, and whatever we can do as parents to help, I wanna do it. How can we help our kids get through this? That's what I wanna do. I'm not here to bash anybody or throw out names or anything, but this is a huge concern. I've heard from a lot of parents in the last week of things that have happened. I had no idea it was this big. So I apologize for not coming forward sooner and making this known, but I hope that you guys will look into this more, and please let us parents know when there's incidents and what we can do and how we can talk to our kids about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public forum that didn't get their name? All right, thank you everybody for